It's the second week of October at the minute, and I just thought I'd give you another tour around Grassy Bottom and show you just where we're at the moment and how far the plants have come on. So let's take a little walk around and I'll just chat away and tell you what's going on. So this is the gravel area, this section here, and I'm very happy with this area at the minute. It's looking really, really good. And at this time of the year, you'd expect to see a lot of dieback, but up here I've chosen plants that were going to keep the show going for a lot longer. And to do that, I've used some evergreens and some evergreen or everbrown grasses in the mix as well. And obviously there are plants in here that are going to die away as well, and that's just part of the year. So we've got quite a lot going on here. And finally, I've got some pennisetums that have decided that they're going to flower this year. We think that one's Cassian's Choice. Now, this one I do have the label of, but I can't. Oh, here it is. I'll just tell you which this one is because it's a real cracker. Right, this one here is pennisetum, and it's called Black Beauty. And it's decided it'll flower for me as well. And the trouble with Lincolnshire is we tend to get not as many of the pennisetums flowering, except things like this one here, which is Pennisetum macrorum. They flower quite readily, and so does the redhead. Redhead. It's not called redhead anymore. It's called red buttons. And there's also one called Carly Rose, and that flowers freely as well. So they're the pennisetums that we'd expect to flower and do usually. So we've got some grasses coming on nicely, and that I love this one here. This is the one that I keep telling you about, Rhododendron macrophylla. Well, I tell you about everything, don't I? But that one's looking exceptionally good now. And this year, for the first year, I didn't actually bother stripping it back. I left it and let the new leaves come through, and it's worked a treat for me. And I've taken cuttings off that as well, and that's looking great. This is a Verbena bonariensis. At the beginning of the year was just a tiny little thing, and now it's doing really, really well, and I'm really happy with that one. And it all came from the one Verbena that I brought up here. So this is what we call the silver birch border, or the birch border. And that birch hasn't done very well, to be quite honest, for a couple of years now since I've had it in here. But I realised it needed time to settle in because it's been in a pot forever. And now it's in the ground, it's maybe gone into some sort of a shock. Anyway, it's not looking as good as it should, but I am improving that over the winter. I've mulched it, so that'll improve it definitely this year. And hopefully that'll get better. Now, this time of year, we're starting to get into colder months, and with that, we get the euphorbias starting to look really good. That's my own euphorbia there. That's the one called Malachi. And it looks great at the moment. Looks great with that grass, that Chayugensis, the miscanthus, and my own Igor the Giant, which is just really a selected seedling of Matrona. Looking good there. I do wacky things like this as well. This little toad, I love it. I've made it part of this area here, and people don't really spot it till they get quite close up to it. And it's sunk in the ground with the other stuff. So, yeah, so it's looking good. And as I said, I have Pinus mugo, this particular one, and I'm letting that grow bigger. Now, just remember with Pinus mugo, it can get up to from 12 to 15 foot quite easily if you don't keep your eye on it. So, some of the roses are doing well. The Melinia is as expected. Now, this Melinia has probably been put in the wrong place because what we get is it's this up here. It just keeps hitting it. So maybe I'm thinking about maybe moving this. So don't forget, we're in October, and October is a very good a very good time of the year to move plants and to move them successfully. There's another euphorbia there, and as you can see, that's looking good. That was just a selected one. It has massive flower heads on it, which I'll show you in the summer. So some of the autumn colours are trying to come in. It's not quite there yet. Although that's that colour, this one actually goes a bright orange colour. The Strantia is still doing well, and this Aconite folium, this Acer, is now definitely coming into its winter colours, its winter coat, and it's looking fantastic. So bamboos, they're looking good. That's Thamnocalmus, a type of bamboo called Q Beauty, looking really nice. It is a clumper. It'll never come out of that clump. It'll get bigger, a bigger clump, but it'll never come out of its own clump. It'll just gradually increase, as you can see. And it'll continually try and put out some little stubby things. Now, some of them will make it and some of them won't, but the likelihood is that that one won't make it. This one won't really make it either. It may get a bit taller. This one is doing okay. I've had to contain it back there because it's tending to just splay a little bit, and I'm going to rectify that year by taking out certain canes just to correct its problem. So I have lots of barrels in this garden, as you can see, or you'll see as I go round, that I like to show. Looking good. And the Mahonia, now this is Mahonia japonica, not quite sure which one, because again this one was already here. And I love to strip these things back, and I like taking the lower limbs off of them, or the lower branches, but they have this annoying habit of growing back very, very quickly. So you've either got to accept that you've got to do constant strip backs on it, or you just let it be a shrub. It is about to flower again. It's noticed that a few flowers have been developing, and there we go. There you go, you can see one there, and they're heavily scented. They have a kind of a sherbet type of smell. Well, they do for me anyway. So this is the owl border. There's the owl. And the grasses are looking great, as I keep saying. They look good at this time of year. It's their time to shine. I'm sure we're going to get some very cold weather coming anytime soon. Things will change. But for now, it's looking good. That Miscanthus Lutaria riparius, the big tall one there, it's looking absolutely superb. I love it. I can't wait till next year, actually. It's done really well this year. That was just one little clump in there, and this is why I said you must contain it, and I have contained it. I've got that root barrier there. That's a bamboo root barrier there, and that will contain it because it goes down 900 mil, and it shouldn't escape from that. Yeah, so it's autumn. It's feeling a little bit cooler today, but I don't mind that because I'm a real gardener, so I get out in all sorts of weather. And this is the Anderson Shelter Arbour Seat that I've been making. And if you look up on some of my other videos, you'll see this one being made. And I've yet to change the seats. We've all decided that it needs a seat change. It's got to be wooden. So this is the view I get from it, and it's fantastic. And I spend a bit of time down here, nowhere near enough time, because this is what I'm classing as the secret garden. And it's where you see that section there that I'm thinking that I am going to put a fence up there, because that viburnum, which is Ritidiphyllum, gets to be big, and it's evergreen, and it will look good eventually, but it's going to take some time to get there. So it's looking good. We've got the old Aster, Symphotrichum, and this one's Calliope, and just look at that now. It's looking absolutely superb. Actually, that colour that I'm seeing through here at the minute is not representative. It's actually blue, so that's not showing very well there. I guess it's because we're into some dull light now, but it's looking good. So this is the shack, this one here. And it's sort of a building of passion. I made this with all my heart, really. And again, I've got YouTubes on that if you want to look through and have a look, see what it's like. This is the boardwalk and the decking that goes with it. And there's the shack, looking good. Now, one thing that I do, and I advise you to do it at times, not all the time, if you're in a rush and you need to take out a large clump, such as this one here, this is a Rudbeckia. Now, although it looks terrible, that's been laid there for over a week now. This weekend I am going to rectify all the plants that need homes, and they're all going to get put in. But don't worry about leaving them out for some time. I could leave that another 2 weeks, and I can almost guarantee it's not going to do any harm at all, because we're at that time of year now where things are starting to die back. If you do that sort of thing, then I would recommend that you cut it back as well. Cut it back. I'm not bothered because I've got a large clump there that's going to look great anyway, no matter what happens to it. So this area is back in development again. This is the boardwalk border. And it's, like I say, back in development because we're making a few changes. There's another Miscanthus Lutaria riparius there in that container, and I'm going to put that in permanently soon. So it should look better once that's done. But as I said, this bit here is back in development because I need to have a rejig, because we're working on this area here, which is the wildlife pond, but it's like what I'm calling the wildlife dip pools. I've now got the membrane or the pond liner for that, so that will be getting done shortly. But what I must do before I get back on with that is I've got to sort out these plants that I bought the other day, and I need this border here is kind of irritating me at the minute because it needs a rejig. It looks great, don't get me wrong, it looks absolutely fantastic, but I've got plants and changes that I want to make. I've got plants that I want to put into here and plants I want to take out and move into little other bits of this border, including this one here. This is Helianthus augialis, and I intend to put it back there, right there where that little shrub is there. And that's where that one's going. So, yeah, so there's some changes to be made. We've got this Symphotrichum, which is looking great, which is called James Ritchie. It's now decided it's going to stay trapped here, but I think you can now see the difference between that one and the one behind it. And I am going to put it down here somewhere, not quite sure yet. All will be revealed, but we also have another aster there, or a Symphotrichum called Monk. Now this is a Sorbus, and I called it Raven's Wing the other day, but it's not, it's called Raven's Bill. And it's a bit burnt at the minute, but that's down to the summer, so I'm not worried about it, it's going to be fine. And the reason it's called Raven's Bill is because it starts developing this type of look at this time of year. That's its new leaf for next year. They're starting to develop now, they're sitting like that. Although it hasn't dropped its leaves, it will very soon, and I'm hoping for a good colour because this is its first year in with me. So that one's called Sorbus Raven's Bill, and I love it. So it's looking good up there. Everything's good. Don't forget, we're in autumn. In the second week in October at the moment. And things are moving on apace. Now, I'm always surprised at this time of year when I see, and I shouldn't be, but when I see the roses starting to do the thing again. And that one's a little beauty, really, that one. What's it called? Because it's new. It's new to me, this one. And I've never grown this one before. I've grown many roses, but not this one. Oh, Starlight Symphony. So that is Starlight Symphony. And it's it's a climber. He's going to do really well on here. And I have another one over there that I'm not so impressed by. I'm not even going to look for its name, but it's a pink one. But it will be a scrambler, I think, that one, judging by what it's doing at the moment. But it's gonna look good, so we'll live with that for now. And there's little bits all over the place that I bought the other day, so 1 or 2 plants in here that I bought. We're just gonna sort them out as the weekend comes in. This is that Astrantia, and this is Muriel's Gift, and it's flowered again. As I said, Astrantias will flower again if you chop them back early enough. Now this is Sambucus, or the elder, the black elder, and it's called Black Tower, and it's fantastic. It's really liking it up here at Grassy Bottom. It's doing really well, and I've got a cutting off of it, which is down there, and another cutting in another area just beyond there, which I'm working on as well. So there's one in there. Now, I'm quite happy with this section at the moment, although I've got 1 or 2 changes to make in the cloister pergola, and that's really with the planting. Well, I have a little bit of a jiggly, and I like to jiggle stuff around, and it's a good time of the year to do it. Don't forget, September, October is a fantastic time to be lifting and splitting your plants and getting them back in. And the reason for that is that we've still got warm soil, so it'll look really, really nice. Now this Corylus Avellana contorta, I love it. I just absolutely love it. I've never been in a garden where I've had a mature specimen, but this is a mature specimen, and it looks fantastic. And if you look back in my YouTube videos, you'll see last year when I stripped all this down, all this stuff here was removed, exposing all of this contorted effect. And it's what it does naturally, but people tend to leave all the top growth low down. But I've removed it, and as you can see, fantastic, looks absolutely stunning. So when we come into other areas, we get to see it, view it from different points of the garden, and it really does look nice. It's definitely worth doing. If you want to know how to do that, as I said, pop over to the video what I did for that, and that kind of shows you what I did. So this is a view up and over the garden, and it's, you know, I love it. I just love it. I can't say it enough. I know I'm a bit of a geek, but I just absolutely love it. And I come out all the time, and I do loads of these walks, and I do it every single night. And sometimes I'll wait just for the golden hour. And the golden hour, don't forget, at this time of year is getting sort of earlier and earlier. The tree in the background there is a Prunus Cerasperia Pisardii, and it's already lost its leaves. It's the purple-leaved plum. It's an older specimen, and there are other specimens around that have kept theirs in the village. So I think we're going to have to do some rejuvenating pruning, and by that I should be removing 1 or 2 major limbs, which will really affect it. But we should do it carefully and thoughtfully, and hopefully it won't stress it too much, and it will reinvigorate the growth, and we'll have a lot of newer growth, and hopefully the leaves will remain on. It's getting towards probably the winter of its life, really, so I don't expect that to live forever, but I do expect it to carry on a bit longer. We've had a bit of this coming off, the pampas. This pampas I love. It's Patagonia. I should probably collect those. In fact, I should keep hold of that. That'll just be stuck there for now, and then I shall collect that, and we shall plant that. We shall put the seeds. I've already put some seeds in, but it was too early, and they've not taken, so way too early. So that's looking really nice. So that's cloister pergola, as we're calling it now, and I love it. This is the sheep bale feeder that I put in, and I made the mistake of putting that euphorbia in, and there's still little bits all over. I'm still pulling them out. It's all over in there. So I'm continuing to lift them before I put anything else back in there. It was called Whistleberry Garnet. It is up in another part of the garden, up near the secret garden, and I've left it on the side there because it'll be fine up there. I can control it, whereas here, there's absolutely no chance that I could control that over time. This panicum looks nice. It's cracking now. It's one called Thundercloud. Not as tall as it's going to get. It's going to get a lot taller than that, and it's more bluer than the average panicums because we have some beautiful reds and purples of the panicums, and they look really, really nice. What can I show you here? So this here is another euphorbia, and that's looking really nice. And then we've got this area here, and that's looking really nice as well. And this is something that's going to be in production, so we'll show you more of that as and when I've got more time. But we'll end the video at that point because I don't want to go on too long. But that's just a quick walk around Grassy Bottom at this time of the year. It's just to show you what it's looking like. So you can have a garden that's still very much in flower and very much looking good. Not everything dies away in October. I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!